I'm sure everybody's seen the news now that Heung is going to be leaving Spurs effective immediately. Now, where he's going is not 100% decided, but it looks like it's going to be LAFC in the MLS, although it could be another team in Major League Soccer. I know he's got offers to go to Saudi Arabia, but he doesn't really want to do that. We don't know for sure. That's not really the main focus on this video. I just want to talk about Son, and I want to talk about how I feel about this decision as a diehard fan of this man as a footballer, as a fan of Tottenham Hotspur. Talk about his legacy with the club and maybe what's next. I can honestly say there's about 5 players all time who, when they would leave my club, I would sit down and record a video talking about my feelings. To me, Son Heung-min is truly one of the main reasons that I even like this sport to begin with. I was a fan before, but I didn't become a diehard. I didn't become obsessed. I didn't become entrenched in like injecting footy into my freaking veins until he broke onto the scene. Because y'all can already tell, right? I'm American. I'm not English. I'm not from North London. I'm not from southern France. I didn't grow up in a footy community. I come from a basketball household and an American football household, so something needed to kind of grab me and drag me in. Now, Son is not the only footballer to do that. There are others, but, you know, this is his moment in the sun. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. How do I feel about the decision? Honestly, very sad, very gutted, but in like a happy kind of way. Does that make any sense? I imagine when like my kid goes off to college and like I'm sad about it, but I'm happy that he's going, is pretty much like gonna recreate this moment emotionally for me. Am I upset that he's going? Not in any way, shape, or form. And I would honestly say that if you're a Spurs fan and you are mad and you are angry that Son is leaving the club, or how could he do this now type thing. Why didn't he give us more of a warning? We could have maybe been able to sell him for more money. I think you're a scumbag. And I know that's harsh, but like I think Son is one of the greatest like success stories in football. He's also, I think, the least hated player I've ever seen. Like what the negative things people say about him is that he cries sometimes and that he cares too much. Okay, I guess Son's a terrible person then. God forbid that he actually cares about his profession and his colleagues. God forbid that things in life have meaning to him. Oh my God, what a weirdo. Son Heung-min has done so much for me personally and every Spurs fan in the club that as long as he didn't go to mother effing Arsenal or Chelsea, nothing could have ruined or tarnished, in my opinion, how people see him. Now, what is his legacy at the club? This is where we get into some interesting conversations. And this is obviously going to vary between person to person, but also fans of different clubs in the Premier League. Like, I don't know, if you support Nottingham Forest, what do you think Son's legacy is? Do you think he's a Premier legend? What if you support Crystal Palace? Like, of course, Spurs fans, we're going to say, yes, he's a legend because he's one of the greatest players we've ever had in club history. But I don't know how the general public feels. I know how I believe the public should feel, which is Son Heung-min is a top 5 left winger in Premier League history. I would probably put him at 3rd, honestly. Am I biased? Sure, I don't care. Look at the stats, look at the context, look at the accolades. This guy's career has been a huge dub. I don't care that he won his first trophy at age 33. That doesn't matter. And if you think that's what matters, then you're probably a fan of a big 3 club that just spends billions and billions of dollars. And I don't really think you have any connection to the sport. You just want to see guys wearing your team's colors lift trophies at the end of the season. I don't really think you're here for the story. I don't really think you're here for the journey. You're just kind of like an achievement and glory merchant. Sports are about more than winning. I will say for me personally, I do think Son Heung-min is my favorite Spurs player ever. My top 3 would be Son, Toby Alderweireld, and Harry Kane. Now that I'm on here, let's just round out the top 5 because I think this is fun. Ooh, who after that? Oh God, it used to be Kyle Walker, but my man I'm gonna say Christian Eriksen 4th. And probably Gareth Bale 5. What I want to know, because I'm sure there's a lot of Spurs fans watching, do you guys think that Son is a bigger club legend than Harry Kane? That is a really interesting debate. I think there's a really strong argument that he is, and I think the number one thing you can point to is the fact that Son ended a 17-year trophy drought that Harry Kane was no longer at the club for. And I don't blame Harry Kane for that. I love Harry Kane. I have nothing negative to say about Harry Kane. You will never catch me saying anything like that. I just think Son has the one thing that the club is always missing that Kane doesn't. Let's talk about accolades really quick because I feel like I need to read these off because there are people, I believe, who actually didn't pay enough attention to Spurs because they weren't fans of Tottenham, so they're not going to watch every single game. And I don't think they really know how freaking good Son was. He is top 20 in assists all time in the Premier League with 71. He's in 17th place technically. Most assists for Tottenham in Premier League history. Premier League top goal scorer in 2022 when he tied with Mohamed Salah, but then didn't make the Prem team of the season. Do not get me started on that. 4-time Tottenham Player of the Year. 5th on Spurs' all-time goal-scoring list across all competitions with 173 goals. As a winger, 2nd in European goals scored in Spurs history, only behind Harry Kane, and 7th all-time in Tottenham club appearances with 454 games. This guy was with us for 10 years and played 45 games a year. The definition of loyal club servant in the dictionary is a picture of Son. And of course, he won the Puskás for his goal against Burnley. And real quick, I want to do a comparison between Son's stats in the Premier League versus what other people will consider the best left wingers in the Prem. Son, 333 games, 127 goals, 71 assists. Raheem Sterling, 396 games, 123 goals, 75 assists. Sadio Mane, 263 games, 111 goals, 43 assists. Eden Hazard, 245 games, 85 goals, 57 assists. Cristiano Ronaldo, wanted to throw a fun one in there, 236 games, 103 goals, 39 assists. I will throw all these numbers on screen right now, and I will show you their GA per game. And as you can see, Son is literally the same as all of these guys. But the reason I think Son is so good is because he played for Tottenham Hotspur, not Liverpool, not Chelsea, not prime Manchester United. And he was still able to get these stats. And I don't know how many of the other guys on this list could have played for Spurs for 10 years and gotten the same return as Son Heung-min. Y'all, did you know in 5 out of the 10 seasons that Son played for Spurs, Spurs finished outside of the top 4? 50% of his seasons were not played with a top 4 side. And he has the same output as the legends of the Prem. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Is Sadio Mane getting me that? With all due respect, I love Mane. No. Is Raheem Sterling getting me this output for Spurs with the supporting cast that he had? Absolutely not. Eden Hazard, that's kind of an interesting one. I definitely think his peak was better than Son, but he burnt out really, really fast. And I'm not trying to disparage these players and say that they're not good, okay? These are all legends of the Prem. But it takes time and effort to really understand the context in which Son was putting up this performance. It is not easy. I'll say it now. I have full confidence that if Son played 10 years for Manchester City or 10 years for Liverpool or Manchester United, he would be considered probably the 2nd best left winger of all time. But he played for Spurs, and if you don't think that matters, again, I don't think you understand human psychology, sports marketing, anything like that. There's a big difference between playing for the New York Knicks and the Charlotte Hornets. There's a big difference playing for Spurs and playing for Manchester United. Or good God, if he played at Real Madrid, which he almost went to Real like 4 years ago. I mean, again, in terms of legacy, that would have been a major boost. Not for me, because I actually have watched this man for a decade and I know how good he is, but for the casuals, the guys who don't watch Spurs, they would have been like, oh, the Spurs fans were right. This guy actually is really freaking good. Just think of the pressure this guy was under, especially in the latter years, man. He's the captain of South Korea. He's trying to end the South Korean trophy drought, which they haven't won anything since the Korean War. Then he's the captain for Spurs, right? The most cursed club in the Premier League. Haven't won a damn thing in 17 years just by getting close time and time again. And the fact he didn't have a mental breakdown also deserves a statue in front of the stadium. And that's the last thing I'll say. This man deserves a statue in front of White Hart Lane. I think he's one of the greatest players ever for the club, and he deserves recognition for that. Eternal recognition. An amazing ambassador for the club, never getting in any trouble, never getting caught, publicly intoxicated or cheating on his wife, he's not married, or anything like that. Like, he's just genuinely a good dude who wants to go out and play footy, man. He's like the embodiment of a wholesome guy. And if you want to talk about the ROI that he has had for Spurs as a club, not just talking about fans in Korea who basically support Spurs because of Son, so I'm kind of curious what that's going to look like now that he's gone, but also around the world, in America, fans like me. I think he cost $30 million 10 years ago. Like, I can't even fathom how many hundreds of millions of dollars he's earned the club. And he won them a trophy. Yeah, it took him a while. I don't care. In terms of every single metric, he was a success. And that's why I have no hard feelings for him leaving, because he deserves it. Now it looks like it's going to be LAFC and he's going to be focusing on the World Cup. I understand the decision from the standpoint of like, hey, the Premier League is really taxing on your body. Probably better to go to MLS where it's a little slower paced. It's much easier of a league. Let's not even screw around there. The defense is largely bad in MLS. Focus on the World Cup. Go in feeling fresh. And then right after that, you have the 2027 Asian Cup. And if you don't think that's a massive priority for him, again, you don't know ball. Speaking of both of those, I will be covering the World Cup extensively here on the channel, as well as the Asian Cup. Some of you guys are probably new to the channel. I drop tons of videos every single month covering Asian football. It's one of the main topic pieces here on the channel. So if you guys don't want to miss all the roll up to those two competitions, make sure you're subscribed. I do also cover the Prem from time to time. We'll be having a Premier League show throughout this next season with me and a series of revolving guests. So that should also be fun for you guys. Hit subscribe for both of those, man. Yeah. Words on Son Heung-min, club legend, greatest Asian player of all time. I got nothing else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one.